It's the week of the 2023 NFL Draft, and that means it's time for A-plus mock draft, 7 rounds, and this one's the New Orleans Saints. They're missing that 10th pick, but they can still add impact players, and I've done just that. They call me Mullet Mel, Flostra Dumbass, all kinds of different things, but I am the ESPN draft nerd Jeremy Green, and this is the 7-round A-plus mock draft for the New Orleans Saints. We start at number 29, the pick that they got for Sean Payton, and there, every Saints fan that has commented on anything we have done has said that they need somebody on the interior, and the perfect player to fill that is Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh. This kid's going to come in and immediately provide a nice one-gapping pass rush specialist. I think he will hold up against the run, but he's a much better pass rusher. 14.5 sacks, 27.5 tackles for loss as a full-time starter over the last 2 years. There are two things I need to caution people about with Kalijah Kancey. A, that defensive line was really good, so nobody was ever able to directly fixate on him. He was fantastic, but he did have good players around him. Also, the Aaron Donald comparison. Just because they are vaguely the same height and went to the same school does not mean they are the same person. The short area quickness, that part I understand. But you're setting an expectation for this kid that I'm just not sure he can live up to. Very good player, would be a home run selection here at 29, but just, okay, you're comparing him to one of the best defensive players of the last 25 years. So maybe temper that just a little bit. Their next pick is at number 40. I feel like Chris Olave had a great rookie year. He's a true one-ish in the league. I can't tell you he's a definitive top 20 receiver in the league, but he's pretty close. He needs a little help. Could get back Michael Thomas, but it's hard for me to trust him with the injury. So here at 40, I'm taking a player that I really believe in the upside. You may just have to be a little patient with. Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver out of Tennessee. Absolute high-flying deep threat that showed how good he was as he annihilated Alabama in a game earlier this year. 4.4 speed. He kind of reminds me of a mixture of Deshaun Jackson and Velus Jones, and that's two really lazy comparisons, but he has the body type like the latter, but he plays like the former, and he's got this high-end speed. You're going to have to round him off as a route runner. He helps you in every phase because this is a guy that will absolutely kill you over the top. Second in FBS with 15 receiving touchdowns in 2022. Just understand he played in a scheme that was very much built to make him look good. So he's not the finished product that you would think, but that's actually encouraging to me because that means there's more room for him to grow as a wide receiver. Third round, number 71. The Alvin Kamara thing has me a little nervous. Not that I think he's going to be suspended for the year or he's never going to play again or any of the ignorant things I hear on social media. I'm just not sure that he's ready for the start of the year, and you're going to need somebody in that backfield. I know they added Jamal Williams. He's a piece, but I feel like you need another piece, and this is a guy that I know they've had interest in. DeWayne McBride, running back out of UAB. He is a long-term version of Jamal Williams, and I think he's actually better. Huge production at UAB. Over 120 yards in every game but one of 2022. I think he's very scheme versatile. I think he offers you a lot between the tackles. The biggest knock on him is that he has had fumble problems. And now I'm having to really project here with him as a pass catcher because they didn't use him that way. I think he is a much better pass catcher naturally than people think from the very limited amount of experience that he had at UAB. But number 71, DeWayne McBride, the running back out of UAB. On to the fourth round pick, number 115. Not the best corner at his own school, but has some really high-end tape that I really like. Darius Rush, cornerback, South Carolina. 6'2", 200 pounds, 4.36 40. It's all just, it's really raw for a 2-year starter. He started at South Carolina as a wide receiver, so he's got really good hands. NFL size, length, height, weight, speed, RAS, all of those things, and he really attacks the ball. He's just so raw. And there are times, and look, a lot of people pushed down Tariq Woolen for this same thing last year. I'm not saying he can be that level of player because I don't believe that. But I think if you're patient with him, he does project as a very good outside corner in the league. You're just going to have to know if you throw him out there immediately, that is throwing him to the wolves, and he could get devoured. But at 4 and 115, really, really good value. Pick number 146 in the fifth round. The Saints added Derek Carr. Obviously, we all know that. You missed aggressively on Ian Book, and I don't know how long you plan on having Jameis Winston. You need a long-term developmental quarterback, and there's one in this class that I know they really like, and I do too. Clayton Tune out of Houston. 6'2", 220, really solidly built, a lot of high-end tape, and trust me, he saw the hellhounds because the line did not hold up nicely for him. Really good at getting through his progressions, something that I don't see a lot of out of quarterbacks in this class once you get past the high side. There are people that really believe this kid is going to turn into something in the NFL. 4-year starter, 3-year captain, leader on the field, all of the things you could ask for. My problem is that his feet don't always match his arm. So there are times that his feet can't catch up to what his eyes see. His release is a little long, but these are all things that can be coached up. My biggest knock is that I don't know that he's ever going to have the drive with the ball to be a starter in this league. But if I'm wrong, he's a hell of a value in the fifth round. Second fifth-round pick for the Saints, and this is a guy that's been really popular in the process, Jason Taylor II, safety, Oklahoma State. He's going to come in immediately and be an absolute dog on special teams. I think he projects with he's got a really good frame, and he's got long arms that I look for in safeties. I think he's basically a linebacker that just so happens to be able to cover a little bit. The thing you got to understand that pushes him down, yeah, he ran a 4.5, and he had a 43-inch vert. He is really lead-footed on tape for what I saw him do in shorts and a T-shirt. So I'm not necessarily sure that the speed translates to the field yet, but he has it, and if you coach him up, this could be a great value pick 2 to 3 years down the line. On to the seventh round, the Saints have 2 picks here. The first one, Deslin Alexander, edge rusher out of Pittsburgh. You remember that thing I said about having talent around Kalijah Kancey? This was one of them. Really aggressive kid, 6'4", 267. So to me, I think he could be versatile in a 4-man front. I just kind of think he's a jack of all trades, master of none. The flashes are phenomenal, but he doesn't move as fluidly as I would like. Doesn't have the elite pass rush traits. Doesn't have the go-to move. I'm not sure he's ever going to be a great pass rusher. This is more of a depth piece that you never know. If you can bring more of the flashes out, he could be a real value down the line. But if you can't bring that out, then he's a nice 5th defensive lineman that you get here late in the 7th round. And then with the final pick at 257, C.J. Johnson, wide receiver out of East Carolina. The tape says something very different from what the workout did. 4.7 in the 40 at 6'2", 225. Some teams have now got him on their board as a tight end because he's got phenomenal hands, and he really moves well. That lead-footed 40 has bothered a lot of people. Because he didn't create separation at a high level at East Carolina. I just so happen to have a little bit of a relationship with the coach at East Carolina, so I watch a lot more of their games. This was a guy that really flashed on tape to me, and if you take away the speed, that's the biggest knock. I don't think it's going to get any better, but his hands are so good that I think he's going to be an immediate weapon in the red zone once he sees the field. That's going to take a little bit of time, but I think he can have a value early on. If you like these picks, if you hate these picks, if you just want to call me a big mulleted dipshit, feel free. I answer all of the comments. This is the week of the draft, so I'll get to as many of them as I can. We will also be putting out my 7-round projection for how I think the draft goes in reels and shorts and TikToks over the course of the week before we're live for every pick of the 2023 NFL Draft right here on YouTube. Football Farley, Brian Haynes, Tank Spencer, HWA, and me, Mullet Mel, Floster Dumbass, whatever you want to call me. I'm Jeremy Green of thesportsocracy.com, and this has been the New Orleans Saints 7-round A-plus mock draft.